is another video in a series of videos on case studies of individuals who have been the victim of a false allegation or a setup. Some of them are by the police, or there's neglect in police performance or Crown prosecution performance. Sometimes they are targeted allegations, false allegations made by men or women against men or women. So this case is based in the States. This dates to 2020. She accused a sailor of sexual assault. She just admitted she lied so her significant other wouldn't think she cheated. A Virginia woman pled guilty on Tuesday to falsely claiming a Navy sailor sexually assaulted her 2 years ago. Miranda Overton, 21, claimed in 2018 that a Navy sailor sexually assaulted her. She made her accusation to NCIS in Norfolk, Virginia, and claimed the sailor raped and sodomized her at the Naval Station, Norfolk. A statement from the Department of Justice's U.S. Attorney's Office in the East District of Virginia said the woman made the accusation in July 2018. The accused sailor was interviewed and said he met Overton on an online dating app and the two had consensual sex. Now, if you actually go to the statement, which is here, I'll have a quick read. So this is the statement from the Attorney's Office. Woman pleads guilty to false statement regarding sexual assault. A woman pled guilty today, lying to an NCIS investigators about an alleged sexual assault that occurred aboard Naval Station Norfolk. According to court documents, in July 2018, Miranda Overton, 21, made a report to NCIS alleging that an active duty Navy sailor sexually assaulted her. After opening an investigation into the alleged assault, the alleged perpetrator was interviewed, and he explained that he had consensual sex with Overton after they met on an online dating application. Investigators then obtained surveillance video from the day of the alleged sexual assault, revealing that Overton and the sailor kissed in the elevator immediately prior to the alleged assault. Furthermore, investigators obtained Overton's statement during her sexual assault forensic examination, where she admitted that prior to meeting with her alleged perpetrator, they agreed to have sexual intercourse. Investigators subsequently interviewed Overton a second time, during which she admitted her allegation was false and had made another false allegation in the past. Overton admitted that she fabricated the allegation out of fear that her significant other would end their relationship if the significant other became aware that Overton had sex with the sailor. She pled guilty to making a false statement or representation made to the department, and so on and so forth, facing a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. So the article just reports that. States she faces up to 5 years in prison, although it's highly unlikely she will get anywhere near that. In the past, women who have falsely accused men have received little to no jail time for their crimes, even though the named men would face decades in prison and had their lives upended due to the false accusation. No doubt the simple fact that Overton made the accusation was enough to cause damage to the falsely accused sailor. Luckily, his name had not been splashed over the media outlets. But just the rumour he was accused of raping a woman is likely to cause trauma and problems for him. So, and it goes on to report another case, and again describing that some of these cases they receive very little time in jail. This is another similar case. She lied about being raped. Now the men she accused are suing her. 2 football players were falsely accused of rape and are now suing the school and the female student who made the claims against them. And again, she was sentenced, Yovino was sentenced to only 1 year in prison for her crime after a last-minute plea detail. She was facing up to 6 years in prison for second-degree false reporting of an incident and tampering with or fabricating physical evidence. So this is scrolling on. She admitted that she made up the allegation of sexual assault against the football players because it was the first thing that came to mind and she didn't want to lose another male student as a friend and potential boyfriend. The arrest warrant affidavit for Yovino stated she admitted that she made up the allegation of sexual assault against the football players because it was the first thing that came to mind. and she didn't want to lose another male student as a friend and potential boyfriend, the arrest warrant affidavit for Jovino stated. She stated that she believed when the other male student heard the allegation, it would make him angry and sympathetic to her. And the other former, the accused, are seeking some money. So this is really just another example of two things. Firstly, you should always reserve judgment in these kinds of cases, and you should also, secondly, protect due process. Even though they might be quite emotive cases, it is important that the defendants have a right to a fair trial and for matters to be dealt with impartially, one hopes, by the police. But in the meantime, anybody should be reserving judgment. I think this seems to happen a little bit more often than is reported, and also when false accusers are found guilty, they don't receive the same amount of jail time as if an alleged attacker would have had. Okay, and this is one final example. This is from Salt Lake City. This is what happens when people make a false allegation. Logan man assaulted, dies after being accused of sexual assault on a CVTD bus. And this dates to May 2019. So this is Logan, Utah. 62-year-old Michael Fife of Logan died after being struck shortly after being accused of sexual assault aboard a CVTD bus. According to a news release from the police department, the incident happened at 3 o'clock on April the 23rd. A 16-year-old girl called her 17-year-old brother and told him the man had sexually assaulted her. Minutes later, the brother met Fife as he exited the bus in Logan. He assaulted Fife, who fell to the ground and suffered head injuries when he hit the sidewalk. The police then described the assault. This is an absolutely horrible event, and they hadn't seen a case like it within the Logan Police Department, calling it unique and difficult. While Fife lay unconscious on the sidewalk, the suspect fled on foot. He was taken to hospital where he died of his injuries on April the 27th. Investigators reviewed the surveillance video from the bus. It showed Fife walking past the girl, but no sexual assault took place, according to the news release, and the attorney's office was investigating. Because those involved are juveniles and no names have been released at this time. Now, I don't have an update on this case. I did a bit more digging, but I haven't been able to find it. I'll try and update this video if I do find further information on what happened to those who made the allegation and then assaulted the driver. But it just goes to show what can happen when allegations are made. It's not only a case of careers being destroyed. It's not only a case of families and marriages breaking up. Not only a case of money and legal fees being poured down the drain and all the mental health problems that come out of it, but it can end very unhappily with people being assaulted and killed. Even if people are on the receiving end of an allegation, often their families are on the receiving end of abuse from people, and graffiti is sometimes scrawled on the house or abuse is shouted in the street. So this is why it's really important to take quite a hard line on this kind of thing. Make sure it's done properly. And there are three things that should be followed, to my mind, having gone through this broadly similar experience myself. One is that you always reserve judgment where possible if you hear about this kind of thing. You support due process. That's really, really important. And finally, you should limit the identification of the individuals who are under investigation until as late as possible. So those are the three things: reserve judgment, due process, and try and preserve the identity until the legal proceedings have been concluded. So this forms part of a series of case studies. I try and bring some of these cases together. Sometimes it's between individuals, sometimes it's between the police, involving corruption or negligence in the investigation by the police or the Crown Prosecution Service. So I hope this channel becomes a bit of a resource that you come to this, and if you're preparing your own defense or working on a case, or you have a family member preparing a case, then this might feed into some of the discussions and it might give you an idea of what you have to do. Do check out my other videos on what to do if you're arrested and what to do immediately after you're arrested. And also I'm going to be bringing out videos on how to prepare your defense and work on other documentation for your legal team, your barrister, and how to even get through it in terms of your mental health. Please subscribe, and if you're interested in helping me, then you can buy the books, obviously. You can find them on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. So they're titled Mad as Hell Parts 1 and 2 by David N. Anderson. But there's also, I'm setting up a Patreon account, so if you want to support me and help me try and knock out more videos, that'd be a great help. Okay, thank you.